literally fighting for our lives. Bills such as killing overtime. Under the auspices of there's some people who want to come back in earlier, and because of this law, they can't do it. Don't get played. We had to fight for equal pay. Many of you know that I sponsored a bill for equal pay, for equal work, that never really got a hearing. On one hand, there was a bill that did get a hearing that was milquetoast. It didn't take into consideration that most women make about 60 cents for every dollar that men make, and for women of color, it's even lower than that. Don't get played. They will want to make us think that they're on our side, but watch what they do while you're listening to what they say. Don't get played. We had to fight to make sure that the gains that we have made in collective bargaining were not taken back. Don't get played. We've got to make sure if there was ever an election in our lifetime that was critically important to the movement of going forward, this is that time. This is that year. And unless we are fully engaged and make sure that we understand the issues and hold people accountable, they will play us again every time. It was a snake when they picked him up. You'll hear the term, well, you know, it costs too much. It costs too much to do what? To lift working families out of poverty? Who can survive on $20,000 a year? Who can do that? And the same people who will tell us that they don't have the money for education are the same people who will come back and want to build more private prisons. Don't get played. When we look around and we see even the discussion about veterans, I am still really chaffed about what happened with the Veterans Bill. Two of them. Number one of them was for child care. I sponsored a bill so that people who have lost loved ones, children who have lost their parents, they've been killed in action, missing in action, or they've been injured, to put them at the front of the line in daycare. And you know what I was told? They didn't understand. People had questions, so they put it on the desk. And right up until 11:57, I was still trying to get it off the desk, only for them to say, we don't have time. And so the bill never got a vote. They're talking about being concerned for veterans, and we've got to tie a yellow ribbon around the tree. Well, you know what? It takes more than a ribbon to say thank you for your service. And although I appreciate when people say that, I'm also looking at what our country is doing. People have laid their lives on the line, sometimes for frivolous wars such as Iraq, and many of them didn't come back, and some of those that came back didn't come all the way back. And so it's not about the dollars, it's about the promise. We know that 22 veterans every day lose their lives through suicide. My colleague sponsored a bill, Senator Thompson sponsored a bill that would address that issue. And because they said it cost too much, even though it made it to the floor of the assembly, someone running for the Senate now is the person who stood up and killed the bill. Because what? It costs too much? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? How much is a life worth? How much does it cost to say that just because you were born in poverty doesn't mean that you should die in poverty? How much does it cost to educate a child? How much does it cost to make sure that there are wages, livable wages? How much does it cost? And I will submit to you that the values on the other side do not reflect their mantra family values, because they're neither for families nor do they value families' lives. Don't get played. I often think about some of the songs that really inspire folks in terms of this is my country, land where my fathers died, land of the Pilgrim's Pride. And I see people that wrap themselves in the flag and yet desecrate all that the flag represents. They don't want to see equality for people of minority. They do not want to see equality for women. They don't want to see equality of marriage. They don't want to see people make a living wage. They don't want to raise the minimum wage. They don't want to make sure that children who are hungry get fed in school. They don't want to make sure that there's enough money to pay teachers for the schools. They don't want to do any of the things that they say that they value, but they continue to talk about it. And so this is the year we will say no more. No more. You will not talk right and walk left. No more. We will not get played. And so, my brothers and sisters, this is what I'm asking you. Last session we had leverage because the governor wanted to pass a tax plan. In 2017, we will not have that. We will not have that. And unless we can inspire our people and let them know what is at stake, get in the street, get on the phone, do whatever you have to do. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your frenemies, tell your mamas and dad, tell everybody. You got to get out and vote because it's just that important. If you send us back to Carson City, not in the majority, you are sending us into a sword fight with 5 rubber bands. So let me say this. It's not just about the talking, it's about the walking. It's not just about what you want me to think you believe, it's about what you're showing me that you believe. The song that comes to mind as I close is, "My country, 'tis of thee." It belongs to all of us, not just the wealthy. It belongs to all of us. Not just those who are in the majority, but it belongs to all of us. Not just for those who are sitting in power, but it belongs to all of us. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. When people talk about taking the country back, I always question, where do you want to take it back to? 1950, when people like me couldn't drink out of water fountains? Where do you want to take it back to? The time where women couldn't vote? Where do you want to take